Hey everyone, my name is Bavin. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is just my life with unmedicated ADHD, but I don't like using that label. I don't, to me, it's just the beauty of life and my creative, introspective, unhinged, chaotic craziness, I think. One thing I wanted to start doing, it just came to me as I'm reading more these days because I'm trying to stay present and away from screens. I One problem I think that I'm starting to notice in people across my life, and it's something that Naval Ravikant also referred to. He's a famed Silicon Valley investor, and he talks about that you should read books slowly. And I think we read too many books too quickly. I think most books are actually quite bad, and I mean books in the self-help variety. I actually wrote my own book called The Last Self-Help Book You'll Ever Need, which I should show a copy, but I don't have it up with me because I didn't prep for this episode. This is all unscripted from the heart. I just want to be authentic. I think there's too much AI. There's too much noise and artificialness. This is just my laptop camera. I just wanted to just speak from the heart and like introspect with the heart. I had this idea of like, I'm reading this book slowly. Let's read it one chapter at a time, introspect with it, and post it on YouTube. Perhaps you can follow along. But I wanted to read this book slowly so it solidifies in my head once. Because it's a book I've been trying to read multiple times. I read most of it once. It didn't really stick with it in the same, how can I put this? I didn't have the right mental model and I didn't have the right frame of mind to really understand the true meaning behind this book. And this book is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert Pirsig. And it's an old book. I have the 25th edition year edition, which is probably 30th now. I don't know. I won't really look into like publication years too much. It's not my biggest concern, but I decided to just read this book slowly and really introspect about it because it is a book about on Zen Buddhism, and I'm in a state of mind right now where I am trying to slow down. I am trying to introspect and apply the lessons from Hinduism and Buddhism into my life. And I was reading this book and I'm like, what if I just post videos of it and people can follow along as I introspect? But more importantly, I can go back to it and just like see my stuff. So I'm a big believer in open sourcing and introspection and authenticity as much as possible. So I'm gonna do chapter one, and I already read it, and I'm not gonna read every line. That'd be crazy. But I decided to just go over the premise and just mention a few notes that I kind of stuck with me. Not so much the details of the story or whatnot, but just the lessons that I think I'm taking away from it. And the story is like there's this two couple or this pair of couples doing a road trip on motorcycles. One of the couples, who is the narrator's friend, um, doesn't like fixing motorcycles, and he wanted to buy or the couple bought a motorcycle that's supposedly easy to maintain, but he's having trouble with it. And he was making observations on the couple's temperament. And I think chapter one really alludes to Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. And if you watch my vlog, I'm thinking a lot about like fast emotions and slow emotions. Slow emotions being rational thought, fast emotions being quick, unhinged emotional thoughts or reactions to situations. And through this chapter, I want to share a few lines, and I encourage you to read the chapter first. It's a short chapter, and potentially go with me and introspect with me. Maybe add something in the comments for yourself. So one line that really stuck out for me in this first pass was they're driving along. They're kind of talking about like the scenery, whatever, and how it can be monotonous, or you can miss signs because of all the road travel. And it is, if you miss that sign in the weeds, that's your problem, not theirs. I know sometimes when we go for long drives, and I'm actually going for a long drive tomorrow. I'm going visiting my family. It's about a 5 hour drive in total, and I like to not use a radio anymore. And he actually alludes to this, or the narrator actually alludes to the one of the nice things about driving on a motorcycle is that you don't have radio, you don't hear it, so you're kind of really present in the moment. But I like this line because this has happened to all of us, where if you miss that sign, it's not the sign's problem, it's your problem. So you have to take ownership of everything that kind of happens to you, and you can't really rely too much on the external. It is all on you, right? Obviously, you can give feedback to the owner, right? But it's still on you to kind of navigate this. Another thing that I took from this is, let's see here. Uh, Sorry, that's not there. Sorry, I'm just going through it because again, this is all in private. I don't have anything like listed here. Let's see. Oh, he talks about the idea of depth and shallowness. I think he was talking. I mean, this was in the 70s and 60s, I believe, at least when it was being referred to. And at that time, TV channels were starting to proliferate across kind of North America. And now we have the same problem on the internet. So like, there's a lot of like parallels to this book and where we're at right now. And one of the things I like in this book, where it was really interesting, is that we're not going deep anymore. And this is a line that he says here: there are eras of human history in which channels of thought have been too deeply cut, and no change was possible, and nothing new has ever happened. And best was a matter of dogma, but this is not the situation now. Just reading here. Ultimately, like this whole part here was that there's more shallowness and less depth, right? So less is better. Go deeper if you can. I suffer from this, but I go as deep as I possibly can. I actually have this rule where if I get to like 80% proficiency, I'm pretty okay with things because I want to be a hyper generalist, but I like to see the patterns with everything. But I do like going deep. I think I have a tendency to go deep a lot. So on anything I really, really like, it's one of the superpowers of having ADHD. And let's see here. Oh, I like this line because like, I read this chapter on Monday actually. It is, well, you know, work. I repeat, Monday morning, half asleep. Who goes to work on Monday morning with a grin? I'm trying to go to work Monday morning with a grin. Monday should be the best day of the week. It sets the tone for the rest of the week. Try to go with some positivity. I think it's important. Okay, so this is where he goes to John's. John's the other motorcyclist. So it is with John I can preach the practical value and worth of a motorcycle maintenance till I am hoarse, and it would not make a dent in him. I am dyslexic, so please be patient with me. I do appreciate it. After two sentences on the subject, his eyes go completely. After two sentences on the subject, his eyes go completely glassy, and he changes the conversation or just looks away. He doesn't want to hear about it. So this is interesting. This is like literally everyone in my life for the most part on any topic that requires some fixing, whether it's literal or metaphorical. I think a lot of people don't like doing that work. I think they don't want to go in there, fix it, and take action and like change themselves. And I know a lot of people like that, especially for mental health. They don't want to face the truth. And it's interesting that he kind of noticed that here. And then he goes on to write, and the more I try to fathom what makes me enjoy mechanical work and then hate it so, the more elusive it becomes. The ultimate cause of his original minor difference of opinion appears to run way, way deep. I understand, like, I empathize with this. I don't understand a lot of people who do not want to go deep and like fix things, or at least try to understand it and like really deconstruct, build a system, like do all those things. And I feel alone in a lot of respects. My dad is a genius engineer, so I relate to him a lot. So is my brother. He's a software programmer. I'm learning code. I'm a system thinker myself. And I have a few friends that I can definitely have conversations like this, and they're usually engineers. But for the most part, we don't go deep. And he kind of alludes this as like a common pattern, and it's kind of representative of the relationship with John and Sylvia, Sylvia being the wife of John. And I'm just trying to see if there's any other line here. Yes. So like you're kind of, yeah. So I noticed he was being super polite to Sylvia while he pumped away, meaning he was furious. So he, through the observations, he noticed that like this tendency to not repair things manifest in the personal relationship of other people. And I think, it goes to that adage, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And then he says this, after all that time, uh, to probably to get them untied, he finally said, when it doesn't start like that, it just really turns me into a monster inside. I just get uh, paranoid. I should have heard that word before. I should look it up. And ultimately, like, and there's another line here. He's not stubborn, not narrow-minded, not lazy, not stupid. There's just no easy explanation. I know what the explanation is. It's fast emotions. I don't even want to say it's anxiety. It's just that people often react in a fast emotional way because a lot of times when we have to deconstruct things or have an appropriate reaction to an external, so it could be you fixing an engine, could be you coding. Sometimes this happens to me as I'm learning how to code right now. What else is another one? Trying to think of another fast one. Like solving personal problems or not getting angry, which recently happened to me. It's like it's fast emotions, but I think what's more important. Here's the thing: we will all go through it, and one of the fundamental tenets of Buddhism is to find the middle way. It's a balancing act. And even yoga strives for that, right? You're trying to find balance by moving and adjusting. So you're not perfect. Some anger is necessary to find more balance, and some happiness. You know what I mean. You just have to find the balance there. But one of the things that I think is chronic in our society today is everyone's emotions are fast across the board because we're going to one thing after another, heavy stimulation, poor diets. Everyone's emotions are fast, and it's not anxiety. It's just overworked, fast processing. You can even say we have too many tabs open on our browser, kind of metaphorically. And yeah, like there's another line here. He says like it was the combined dripping and loud kids that blew her up. So it's all that stimulus, that like unorganized brain of stimulated brain. In this particular context, he's referring to a dripping tap that they didn't really fix, and then that plus kids irritates Sylvia, and then she kind of blows up, right? And a lot of us go through that. We get notifications all the time, and it's something that I'm trying to be very mindful of these days, so I can navigate the world in a more methodical pace that can be of service to humanity, right? That's what we all want to do. Yeah, so this kind of, in this line over here, it goes like, their monster keeps eating up the land and polluting their air and lakes, and there's no way to strike back at it, hardly any way to escape it. So again, it's like it's almost cancerous. Like that monster grows and feeds on this sort of fast brain thinking, right? Yeah, it makes you really appreciate that book by Daniel Kahneman and no one remembers the second guy, whatever his name was. He also helped write it, but very very powerful book that I need to read again, maybe in parallel to this. I might do multiple books at once and just read a chapter at a time and really kind of digest it. I think that's a good way to do it, because I don't think I'm very much like I don't think reading one book at a time is like any different than reading multiple books at a time. I think it's how you read it and whether you're present and mindful for it is like really important. Let's see. Yes, talking about religion here. They go to mass. It's not really anything here. And then I think close to the last line, yeah, it's like, uh, I just think that their fight from and the hatred of technology is self-defeating. So what does that mean? What does self-defeating mean? It means that, well, he goes on to say the Buddha, the Godhead, resides quite comfortably in the circuits of a digital computer or the gears of a cycle transmission as he does the top of a mountain. So this is actually the Hindu belief. And he referred to both Hinduism and Buddhism here, where in the Hindu tradition, everything is God, so God resides in everything. Versus like in the Western tradition, or the Abrahamic tradition, I should say, that God resides, God presides over everything, like looks over everything. It is God's. It's God's garden, if you will. To think otherwise is so. The idea is that like everything's the same. It's your mindset and your relationship to it is important. And he actually missed the line here. He says, I disagree with them about the cycle maintenance, but not because I'm out of sympathy with their feelings about technology. I just think that their hatred of technology is self defeating. And yeah, like anything in life, mental health stuff, I don't even like saying that word. I just like saying health. It's just health is health. Like don't divide it. But everything requires the same mindset that there's a way to navigate it. And it shouldn't be treated any differently, mentally speaking anyway. Obviously your methodology might be different and what you do with it might be different, but I don't think it's any, and I look for metaphors and analogies everywhere in my life. So even cooking and coding for me are the same. Then I started realizing, wait, everything's cooking. And then I realized that, oh yeah, like or everything's a dance, everything's a fight, right? They're not all different. I think we just tell ourselves it's different, so we have to approach it differently, which actually further complicates things. And how you do one thing is how you do everything, and very much a true Zen slash Hindu belief of that, and that yeah, everything is God or everything is interconnected. So you should use the same mindset in every situation possible. That's my introspection of chapter one, and I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, again, there's no prep for this. I literally just like read from the book, and I know it's not as clumsy and whatever, but I think in an age of distraction, um, fakeness, um, lack of meaning, I think being vulnerable and being authentic like this is all we have left. Because who knows, I could just put an AI filter up, I can change the background, whatever. Like, I don't want to do any of that stuff. Let's read a chapter at a time, let's introspect together, and maybe this can help you. And because this is already helping me. So we're in the same journey together. Talk soon. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.